Oh guys, do I have a story time for you today? This may be a long one and I'm very sorry for that, but I gotta tell the whole thing. So grab yourself a drink and I'm gonna talk to you guys about the time I went out with a 40-year-old. So let me give you a little bit of backstory so you understand what was happening here. Most of you don't know all of this, but I got married at age 20. That's very, very young to be getting married. I'm not currently married anymore. Yes, I did get a divorce. Please know that when I say things like ended the marriage the day before, I didn't end it without trying, and trust me, the relationship ended many times. And we tried and tried and tried, and this was just the day we decided, you know, we weren't going to try anymore. With that being said, I don't feel super guilty for telling you all the details, so let's get into it. I was devastated the day that we decided we were gonna end it. The next day I woke up and I was feeling really fresh that day, and I was thinking, you know what, this is the beginning, this is the start of something new. I said to myself, okay, God, I feel good this morning, and I'm gonna take that as a sign that this was the right step, but I need one more. I need you to tell me one more time that this divorce needs to happen and that I will be happier in the future if I walk away. And I said, okay, just, you got a day off today, go get your nails done, go feel good about yourself, and God will give you that sign. So I decided I'm gonna go get breakfast first. Walk over to this like cafe, breakfasty diner place, I guess you'd call it, something like that. But I decided I was gonna eat breakfast, and I would eat alone in restaurants a lot during my marriage, so this was like totally a normal thing. That sounds really pathetic. Yeah, so I'm sitting down at this diner and I'm eating this bagel breakfast sandwich, and this guy walks in, and I'm literally taken aback because I'm like, he is so cute. He was also wearing a baseball cap, and I just remember thinking like, oh my God, that guy's so cute. He kind of looks like a celebrity. And I'm like glancing at him, and I notice he starts looking at me, and I'm like doing everything in my power not to look in his direction because I was not used to making eye contact with guys or flirting. That had been something I had never done because I'd been married. I married my first boyfriend, and yeah, no experience dating. So I was just avoiding eye contact at all costs, looking down at my food, and then the lady who works there, she calls out that he got the same thing as me, and I'm thinking, oh my God, we got this in common. Me and him both eat bagel sandwiches. And so he takes his bagel sandwich, and it's to go. So he like wraps up the bag, and it seems like he's like taking his sweet time, you know, getting ready to go. And I'm just like glancing over, trying not to make eye contact, but like I want to look at him because he's gorgeous. He grabs his stuff, he smiles at me, and then he walks out, and I just watch him leave. I'm like, oh my goodness, he was so cute. I was like fantasizing about him like saying that he saw me in the Dirt is Straight. And then while I'm fantasizing and living my perfect life in my head, the dude walks back in to the cafe. Okay, this guy is so, so cute, and he's coming back in. I have another opportunity. Do I do something? Do I not do something? This is probably one of the most romantic things that's ever happened to me. Actually, something more romantic happened, but this was like at par. I'll do another story time about the most romantic thing that ever happened to me. Anyways, so he walks over to my table, kneels down in front of me, like, you know, will you marry me type kneel? He like kneels down on one knee, looks up into my eyes, and he says, I was halfway to my car when I realized I had to come back and find out what your name is. I think you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I just remember thinking, oh my God, this is how like people meet and they like share this story with their grandkids, and I just thought it was so romantic. And I just, my name's Penny, and just told him what my name was, and he said he doesn't expect anything, he needed to say something to me, and I was just like, no, well, thank you, it was really brave of you to say something. I also thought you were cute. And then he said, you know what, I really would like to take you out. What are you doing right now? And I said, I'm just about to go get my nails done. And I'm not the type of girl to get my nails done. Right now my nails are jank as. That was just part of me trying to like cope with my pending divorce. I was like, yeah, go out and take care of yourself. So I said, I'm about to get my nails done, so I can't right now. But you know, we could exchange numbers, and he was like, yeah, let's definitely exchange numbers. So he gave me his number, his name and last name, which was weird because usually when you get approached by somebody, you usually just get their first name. But he gave me his first name and his last name and his phone number, and then he was off. And I was just like literally in bliss. Immediately after that, I lived really, really close to my place of work, and my really good friend at the time worked with me. And I knew that she was working a shift, and I had my day off, so I was like, I gotta go tell my friend that this happened, because she knew that I had just like fully ended my marriage, and she saw the whole mess of it all, and she was telling me to get out there and go date and experience other things, because the back and forth thing that we were doing was not healthy. So I went in and I was like, oh my God, the most romantic thing happened to me. So I told her the whole story, and she goes, okay, we need to do a little research on this guy because you don't know who he is. And I had never ever stalked anyone online at that point. And I'm not saying she's a crazy stalker, because listen, I do much worse now, but she wanted to make sure, you know, he wasn't crazy and like, you know. So she does a little bit of a background check for me. She ends up finding out that he's like a millionaire. I know this is a little bit of like a switch in the story. You probably didn't expect I dated a 40-year-old millionaire, but I dated a 40-year-old millionaire. This guy had this really, really well-established business, and I'm not gonna say what type of business because I want to protect his privacy. He apparently started this business when he was like 18 or 19 years old. Kind of like was like a little bit of icing on the cake. I'm just getting divorced. God sent me this like man of a sign, and he's like rich and stuff, so whoa, exciting. I pretended I didn't know anything when we texted and stuff, because I was gonna be like, I've been stalking you, what's up? He'd probably never take me out after that. So we were texting back and forth for a while, I think like a couple days, maybe 2 days. And he goes, I really want to take you out. Let's go to the poorhouse in Gastown. I thought personally that it was actually the poorhouse and we were going to go volunteer or something. And I'm like, what a nice guy. He volunteers at the poorhouse? But no, the poorhouse is like some snooty cocktail bar. We were not going to the poorhouse. We were going to the poor house. That was really funny. I legit thought we were going to a poorhouse. He goes, hey, did you want to like come upstairs beforehand? We could like get a quick drink or like whatever, I could show you my place. And if you know me, you know I do not go to the second location with a stranger ever. And that means I do not get into the car of a stranger. I do not go to the house of a stranger. So I was like, listen, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. Even though I'd like looked into him and he was like some millionaire and I was young and naive, I was like, well, he's probably not gonna kill me. I mean, he's rich and he's rich. But I said, listen, I'm not sure I'm comfortable. I'll see how I feel in the moment, but it's just not me to go to a stranger's house. And he was like, oh no, I totally respect that. I can come downstairs whenever you get there. So I end up going there. I'm like walking through Gastown. Gastown is beautiful, okay? So I was just like struck by the beautiful twinkling lights and the stone pathway. I was like, oh my God, this is like such a beautiful night. And I love this area so much. It just made me feel super nostalgic. And I just remembered walking through that area when I was a kid and somehow was like, okay, it's cool to die tonight. And I think I'm gonna go upstairs. I buzzed this guy's place and he lives in an apartment, or like, I guess a condo you could say. It was like, I'll tell you in a second. I buzzed to get into this guy's place and he was just like, hey, wanna come up? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come up. In that moment, didn't regret it at all. Maybe the shot that I had before the date got to my head a little too quick. I went upstairs and this place was still my dream apartment. I freaking loved it. He had the exposed red brick on the walls, the highest ceilings you will ever see. Like several people who were 7 feet tall could like stand on each other's shoulders and not hit the ceiling. It was like tall. He had like these cool vintage photos hanging on the wall, and his bedroom, all of the walls were glass, and he like slept in a hammock. It was just so cool and epic, and like everything in it looked like Millionaire Bachelor Pinterest edition. Wow. And during this time, it wasn't really in for people, well, it wasn't in, it was in, but nobody had it. Like a sound system that was like kind of like feeding through the entire apartment, and you can control it by like iPads that were just set up on all the walls. He told me, he's like, yeah, put your favorite song on. So I put something on, I can't even remember what it was. And he's like, oh my God, I love this song. And he starts like saying all into the lyrics, and I'm thinking, oh my God, he actually knows this song. It's crazy. So we are hanging out in his apartment. He asked me if I want a glass of wine. He had a bottle of it there, and I'm thinking, yeah, sure, I'll have a bottle of wine. Not at all scared, because I just didn't get any like creepy vibes from him at all. He kept his space. He was like a really cool guy. So he opens this bottle of wine. We're sitting on the couch, we're chatting, and I feel like I'm really connecting with him. I feel like we have a lot in common. And again, there was just nothing off about him. I just really liked him. So we're sitting there and he goes, hey, do you wanna watch something? Or do you wanna go downstairs to the bar? And I was like, you know what, no, I kinda wanna sit here. Let's watch something. So he puts on this show, and I cannot remember what it's called. Like, I literally tried to remember for like an hour. I probably should have Googled it. All I remember was like a tree and a dead body. If you remember what that show was, please tell me, because I never ended up watching it, but it was really, really popular at that time. I am not the type of girl to kiss on the first date, not the type of girl to get into the sack with somebody on the first date. Like, it is not happening. I will seriously scream rape out of your penthouse building and let all your neighbors know the creepy, I seriously, like, I waited till marriage, so I was like not the type of girl who was just gonna throw it away that night. I let him touch my knee, because I was like, okay, he's touching my knee, nothing's gonna happen. And then he ends up leaning over and kissing me. Like I said, I waited till marriage. I had never been on a date where I was like hit on like this, so I like panic. And I start talking to him about how I'm still married, and I'm in the works of my divorce. And I know you're not supposed to bring that kind of thing up, but like literally 3 days prior or 4 days prior, I decided I was getting a divorce. So I thought I owed him that information. So in that time, he gave me the first hint that he was an older man. The hint was that lots of his friends have been experiencing divorce. And, you know, I remember thinking, what? Do lots of people get married really young nowadays? I just remember thinking like that was a little weird. I didn't think anything else of it. And so we're sitting there, he's like being respectful and not like coming on too strong, and we just like have a chat and stuff, but things kind of like feel a little awkward. So we end up cutting the night short. And he was like, I had a really great time with you, and he walks me downstairs and I leave. You're on a first date, you kiss the guy, and then you start talking about another dude. You're probably not gonna hear from this person again. Next morning, he texts me, okay? And he's just like, hey, how'd you get home last night? Like asking me questions, being super sweet. And I'm like, wow, okay, he's actually interested. So he goes, what time do you finish work today? And I was like, 3:30, and then he didn't say anything. So I was like, okay. And I'm at work, close to the end of my shift. I am in the back. I was working at a bakery at the time. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but I was working at a bakery at the time, and I was making bread in the back. And he comes into my work, and he comes up to the front desk, and my friend who had previously stalked him online was standing there, and she knew exactly who he was because we had seen him on social media and saw pictures. And he's like, hey, is Penny working? And she goes, yeah, he's in the back. Oh, she's in the back. Yeah, I'm a he now. I kind of hear something going on, so I'm like looking up at the front, but I can't really tell because the mixer is really loud. And she's like, Penny, this dude is here to see you. And I'm thinking, are you kidding? So he's standing at the door and he's like waving at me, and it was so sweet. He like came in, he wanted to pick me up after work so we could get lunch because I would have not had lunch at that point. And I was like, who are you, Angel? He ends up going like, hey, you're off in like a half an hour. I'm gonna swing by afterwards and we can go get some lunch. He comes by at the end of my shift, and I'm literally like jumping up and down. Oh my God, this like super cute rich entrepreneur guy is like, he's courting me. He picks me up. He has this like really cool truck. So his business was something of like a handyman sort. That makes it sound really horrible, but it was like a really cool business. But it did require a lot of like physical labor. So he had this like big truck, but it was like a nice truck. And I was really into big trucks at that time. So it's this big black sexy thing, like really high off the ground. So I felt like I was like literally in a tower. And my dad actually bought the same truck like years later, which is so hilarious because I was like, wow. We're in his truck and he takes us to this like really cute little diner, and I don't know why, there's something about rich guys when they take you to like hole in the wall cutesy places, you're thinking like, oh, he's trying to be normal. And we have lunch and we start chatting, and I say something that changes everything. So he asks me about the divorce, and I guess he had like thought about it the night before and was like, yeah, I kind of want to hear more. Like what happened there? And so I mentioned that it's really rare for a 23-year-old to be going through divorce, and his face dropped. Like it was like he had seen a ghost. And he said, you're 23? And I was, so I wasn't gonna say no. He ended up telling me that he was turning 40 in 3 weeks. And then the blood drained from my face, and we're both sitting across from each other at this table, and it is so awkward. Like we were holding hands from across the table, and then we kind of like pulled them away. I have no issue with people dating people from different age groups. I'm currently dating somebody younger than me by a few years. By a few years. It's cool because of where I am in my life, but I guess we were both not at all okay with it. And we just like retract our hands, and we're just like sitting there awkwardly. He pays the tab because, you know, I'm pretty much his daughter now. He ends up going like, do you want to take a walk at the beach? So I'm thinking like, are we still doing this? And we're both like not into this date anymore. So we're walking down the beach, reluctantly holding hands. He kisses me on the cheek at one point, and then he goes, I'm getting a little tired, like maybe we should, you know, head home. So we get back in his beautiful truck, and he drives me to my place, and he's like, I'm really sorry, I don't think I can do this. I had never been dumped before. Like I'd never been dumped before. And I mean, I know I'd only been on 2 dates with this guy, but I was just kind of shocked. I was very confused with how I felt about it. I was just like, okay, I guess, okay. I said, is it the age thing? Is it the marriage thing? And he was just like, I don't know, it's just kind of a mix of everything. I feel like you're a little too experienced for me. He said he felt a little inadequate because I had been married, and also that I was so much younger than him. After that, I didn't really know what to do since I had never been dumped before. So I went to the store and I bought a pint of ice cream, because most girls who get broken up with have a pint of ice cream. I ended up running into this guy a few years later, and I legitimately just ran from him because it was so awkward the last time I saw him. I didn't even want a part 2. It was just like, let's not talk ever again. So yeah, that was the story of when I dated a 40-year-old. I hope you guys like this video. If you do want to see more story times like this one, comment below and let me know you want to see more, and also like this video because I don't know if you guys like this stuff unless you like it. As you know from my other videos, I do offer relationship advice. I've decided to dedicate a couple of Fiverr gigs to my relationship advice giving, so I've added those in the description box if you want to check those out, as well as please subscribe to this channel. I love when you guys join me over and over again, when I hear comments from people who have been watching for a while. It really means a lot to me, so I hope you guys can join in on the party. Thanks for coming by, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye. That you guys are so fun and funny. Guys are just always down to play a game and get messy and dirty and just don't care about what it means or what it's gonna do to them or their image. They just live free, and it reminds us of being a kid again. And we appreciate that in you guys, because sometimes it makes us feel like we can be a little wild too.